Hey guys, Thursday afternoon, just a little after lunchtime. Had some errands to run this morning, and I went to the bank and the post office, and you can probably tell I finally got my hair cut, so we're ready to do some work here. And I want to show the new addition to the shop here. Oh yeah. So thanks Andrea for getting that in the mail and getting that to me. That's real cool. You know, for only being 55 degrees in here, we got some serious humidity. It's almost 70% humidity in here. But that was from the raffle. That was an item I won. So that's cool. And back on this truck here and kind of show you where I'm at. Adjusting these fenders up. This one is about as close as I think I'm going to get it. I monkeyed with it a little, but one thing I need to do is something that I'm working on the opposite fender on the driver's side. Had a PM from Matt last night pertaining to how to get these door gaps right, because the hinge or the mounting points are not very adjustable, and what we're going to do, and what I was suggested to do, let's get the door open here, and I think I have a flashlight in one of my pockets here, maybe not, but you can see that bolt right there, okay, that goes through a mounting point and into the fender itself, okay. That one's good, and he suggested to me if I'm too close or too far away with my gap on the fender to either push that mounting tab toward the front of the truck or put a slide hammer on it and jerk it back this way. And I don't have a slide hammer, so what I've done is I've taken my rubber mallet and I put a block of wood in there and I tap both those forward, although like an asshole I didn't check. The lower one didn't need to go forward, just the upper one, to get me a better gap at the top. The bottom one actually needs to come back toward the door. And so I've ordered a slide hammer for future projects, but in the meantime we're going to do this one redneck style and beat it with a block of wood. You know, got to improvise sometimes, so we're going to close in that bottom gap because it's just absolutely enormous. And I think I showed in last night's video that one of the problems is that we have that piece of metal right there, which is part of the cab, actually is contacting the bottom of the fender, and it's not letting it go much more forward. So I figured one thing I would do is wrap a bunch of tape around the hook on the slide hammer and pull down real low and try and get it to pull that fender back where I want it. And then we'll go ahead and tighten the bolt up where it needs to be, and that should be good. And another thing I think I'm going to try, I don't know if we can see it on this side, this is the side that has the ridiculous hood gap right here, and since the pivot point that will adjust that height of the hood is fixed to the fender, what I think I'm going to do, and I don't know if I can do it or not, is to actually, where those two bolts are, take a block of wood and beat that so it folds it down a little, and it'll pull this a little tighter. It's not terrible, but it's bad enough that it aggravates me. We'll see if that'll make that go away. But other than that, the inner mounting points on this fender actually need to be pulled back that way. So we're going to do the same thing with those as I talked about with the driver's side. We're actually going to pull those back with the slide hammer. And there is enough room to get the slide hammer in there. It'll be a little tricky without taking the fender off, but I believe it can be done. Actually, I take that back. This side needs to go the other way. This side needs to go toward the front of the truck. Yeah, the driver's side needs to come toward the door, and the passenger side needs to go away from the door. Just a little bit. The fender is where it needs to be, but the mounting tab, if I start tightening up the bolts in there, will actually suck that fender right into the door. So we're going to work on this one for a little bit here and see where we get. And I'll bring you guys back when I get a little more done. Again, no how-to on this one because I'm kind of learning as I go, and it's taken me several hours to get where I'm at. Just fighting these, and I heard a couple guys comment to me that even the GM fenders suck too. So I guess it really doesn't matter that I bought an aftermarket. This is a Kappa part, but that doesn't mean it's going to fit perfect, you know. It's supposed to be OE fit, but we all know that's not always going to be the case. So I got to get the heat fired up in here too. It's only 55 in here, which is crazy because, yeah, maybe 56, and the little thermometer says it's 60. So that one's probably about 3 years old, and it was a cheapie, and it's probably been dropped a couple times, so I don't know how accurate it is. But we're going to rely on this one from here on out. So I might try and figure out some sort of plastic to put over the front of it so it doesn't get overspray all over it. So when it gets crummy and you can't read it, you can just tear it off. So cool. I like that. So I'm going to get the heat fired up, and I'll bring you guys back when I make a little progress, and we'll see what our gaps look like. Alright guys, it's about 4 o'clock, and after many more hours of cussing, fighting, everything short of throwing tools, we got some nice gaps here. This is still an ugly hood gap, but it is what it is. The rest of it's good. I think I spoke yesterday. This gap here never matched on the factory fenders. So I don't know if something was just a miss, but I'm not going to fight it anymore. It doesn't upset me. The only thing I have left to do is go down, and there's one bolt that goes down there that's just a little off that I have to fight in, but I'm done for today. I'll get back on this tomorrow. I think I spoke earlier, I don't own a slide hammer, but I've got one ordered. I would probably expect it here tomorrow. I ordered it from TP Tool, 30 bucks, with 2 hooks and a screw for pulling dents, which I don't use that at all because I have the dent pulling machine, so we don't like that kind unless we absolutely have to. But yeah, the gap's a little different on this side than it is on the other side. I'm actually a little tighter at the bottom than the other side, but I'm okay with that. It fits fine, it clears it fine. This side we're just over 1/4 inch at the bottom, and just a little tighter in the middle and back up to 1/4 at the top. Hood gap's as good as it's going to get. It's about 1/4, a little over on this side. And we carry that 1/4 inch gap from the top all the way to almost the bottom, and it closes up just under 1/4. So we open up, we don't even come close to hitting. One thing I'm going to do, this fender I pulled on it with my fingers a little bit, and where the edge is rolled over, it pulls away from the inner because it's not glued. I'm going to wrap the slide hammer hook with some tape, and I'm going to do a few taps on it right here to get this out, but the rest of it's level. Other than that, everything's ready to fly, and I'll block over this with probably some 320 to put a scratch in it and see where my dents are. Wherever the fender flares cover, I'm not going to fight it, but I already know there's a dent right here, and I'm probably going to push this down to meet this gap and not try and pull this. I'm probably going to fill it. It's very minor. This is good down here. I'm happy with it. So Matt, thank you so much for PMing me last night about beating those mounts forward to get that door gap lined up. Not having the slide hammer, I don't know that it helped me or hurt me, but I ended up taking a crescent wrench to them, and anybody who's ever used that to bend metal, that works pretty good. I taped up the jaws of the crescent wrench and I went to town on it. This side, I had to bend those babies way forward. The other side, not so bad. But even despite the fact of how far forward I bent them, I still got a tight gap on the bottom, which is crazy. I bent those probably ½ an inch forward from where they were before, which is kind of nuts as far as I'm concerned. But Other than that, we're all good in the hood. You can see where I had my watermarks. Most of them sanded out, but I went and I had some clear from doing the inner fenders, and I dabbed all those little chicken pox marks, and I'll sand those again with some 2000 and knock that down. I've done that before if I bumped something or had a piece of trash in it, so I figured it would probably work for that. That clear had only cured overnight or so. It's still pretty green, so it had a good scratch around it, and then down in it, I guarantee that clear bit it, so it should be good. That was another YouTuber reminded me about doing that, and I always forget about it because usually I don't have another, I'm not doing job after job, so I didn't have any clear, and to mix up a little bit is kind of a pain. So yeah, we're good. The other thing on this side, my body line isn't a perfect match. We're about, I'd say, 1/8 of an inch off on that body line, but we match on the top where we're supposed to be. Same as the other side. I could always push that down if I really felt it was necessary, but I don't think I'm going to. The other problem I ran into, and I guess shims would help this out, but as I tighten these bolts down in there, it kept bending the brackets back like they're weak or something. So a shim behind those would probably work in a pinch, I'm sure. I just overbent them to compensate for it, and then didn't get crazy tight with them. They're tight, but they're not stupid tight. So that's that. There's your Thursday update, and we're going to get on this tomorrow and try and get it body worked. Hopefully that slide hammer will show up tomorrow so I can get my metal pulled out right here. And the other trick you can use, you can take and put some tape on the door and take body filler spreaders and cut them up because they're softer plastic, and use them to wedge this out. The problem is with that being double wall, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't want to end up pushing the door in. I tried paint sticking it and pushing it out, and I just couldn't get it to stay. It kept popping because what was happening is that inner layer, let's see if we can see it. I don't think we're going to be able to ever see that, but no. Where it's rolled over in there, there's no adhesive on the back of it, and it's not rolled over very far onto the inner. So every time you jerk on it, it just, listen. Yeah. You know, shit, I pulled it past it now. Probably stay there. Yep, exactly. But I know what'll happen. Well, what the hell, maybe I don't need to pull on it now. Before, when I was messing with it, it was popping back in. Forget, we'll leave it. So I'll just body work that tomorrow, and that'll be that. So thank you guys for your comments. Hope you enjoyed your day, and we'll get to doing something good tomorrow. Still 60 in here, about 62, 60% humidity though. Humidity's crawling up. It was trying to snow earlier. So, all right, enough bullshit. We'll see you guys later.